Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about a few things sales and marketing related, and also navigating careers. Now, the reason why we're going to be talking about this today, by the way, it's a freestyle something, not a very structured episode. The reason why is because a listener of the podcast reached out to me. Her name is Joy Noni. Sorry, I'm not. I know I'm not pronouncing your surname correctly because I suspect she's Igbo from the eastern part of Nigeria. I suspect. In fact, let me even go to her LinkedIn profile now. Let me be sure that I'm giving you guys the right information. Sorry, one moment. I'm on my phone. I have to click through on her profile. Okay, yeah. So she is in Enugu State. Yeah, so she's in Enugu State. Well, let me assume that she's Igbo, but of course, I might be wrong. So, the listener of the podcast, Joy Noni, reached out to me on LinkedIn. She is a brand strategist. So please, you guys go follow her, show her some love, and tell her that you found her from the podcast because I gave her a shout out. So she's a brand strategist and she helps businesses to stand out by revealing their true value. Sorry, apologies. I'm in the parking lot as usual because I'm running to and fro, and I just saw this message from Joyce. So I said, let me just make this podcast recording sharp, sharp. So she's a brand strategist. She helps people to stand out by revealing their true value, so that the right people can see them, can remember them, and to choose them. So that is what Joy does. So follow her on LinkedIn. Say hello. Tell her that you heard from her over here on the podcast. So she reached out to me. We had a chat, and I just thought it would be nice for me to come over here and make this podcast recording in case some of you have the same sort of questions that she has. So she sent a message, and I responded by saying, "Thanks for connecting. It's a pleasure to be a part of your network." Now, I answer everybody like that, or rather, I send everybody that message who reaches out to me because actually, I am quite honored, whenever people find out and reach out to me. It's not like I'm a celebrity or anything. So actually, it is an honor to be a part of your network. I'm not forming politeness or anything. And so she responded, and from there, that's where the conversation started. Oh, by the way, my name is Tavershima Ayede. I'm the host of the podcast. I'm a former lawyer, now turned business consultant, and I make this podcast because I'm trying to solve business problems, especially business problems that can be solved by increasing your sales. So that's what this podcast is about. If this is your first time discovering the podcast, then please subscribe on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple, or any player of your choice. And not only that, tell your friends and your family members and your enemies as well. Because when your enemies progress, when they grow, your business will grow as well. I'll explain the physics about it later. But just remember, network effects, okay? Network effects. If your enemies grow, you will grow as well. I'll explain that later. So tell your enemies about the podcast too. Then, if you'd like to connect with me just like Joy Noni did, my name is Tavershima Ayede. You can look for me on LinkedIn. I send a message out to everyone. And even if you don't receive a message from me, I'm sorry, I'm human. Maybe one or two things fall through the cracks. Send me a message. I respond to everyone. Except if you are an idiot and you're rude, then I'll block you sharply. But really, I talk with anyone and I talk with everyone because I do not take this encouragement and I do not take this support for granted. Because, of course, I'm trying to grow the podcast. I'm trying to promote the podcast on my own. So I'm always chasing people to see how I can get more visibility for the podcast. So believe me, I do not take it for granted when you guys find me organically. As in, I didn't chase you. You're the one who found me and you're now reaching out to me. I do not take it for granted. I actually value the support and I value the encouragement. So, apart from LinkedIn, you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140. If you have questions, you have comments, you have queries, you want us to collaborate on something, or you want me to consult with you on something, then, reach out to me. So, Joy said, "Good morning, sir. I hope you're doing well." Me too. I hope I'm doing well. Actually, it's not bad. January just started. Kids are back in school, paid school fees. Remaining small now, pay house rent. But it's okay. We're alive and well, so that's good. So she said she wanted to ask me something, if I don't mind. Yeah, sure. I have no problem. Ask your questions. I'll respond whenever I am free. And that's actually one of the reasons why I say send me a WhatsApp message. Because If you try to call, I might be on the move. I might be in the middle of a coaching engagement or in the middle of teaching classes or something. But if you send a WhatsApp message, when I'm done, I can respond. Now, I don't respond. I don't promise that I'm going to respond immediately, but it won't pass 48 hours. You hear from me. You will hear from me because I'll respond to all my messages. Remember, provided you're a reasonable human being and you're not rude. If you're rude or I think you're a 419er, you're a huckster or something, I'll block you sharply. I had to block somebody this week. Well, anyway, so Joy continues. She says, "You are a master at marketing. I know from listening to your podcast. However, you studied something entirely different in school. Now, those of you who are trying to reach out to people that you respect online or people who you think are influencers, or even if you want to reach out to somebody in the flesh, because right now, those of you who listen regularly, I told you guys yesterday, or was it day before yesterday, that I want to be on other regular radio stations. And for one popular radio chain that has stations in the East, in Abuja, and in Lagos, what they're charging me for a 30-minute segment, they're charging me 2M, 2 million per month, 2 point something million. At the end of the year, I need like, is it 24.8 million? I'll be 28.4 million. I can't remember, sure, but that's how much they're charging me. So, myself, I define money. And so because of that, there's one of these guy from my popsi's village I want to go and greet. You know how it is now. I want to go and greet that guy. Let me see if I can raise some millions from him. So, I've been telling you guys that, look, flattery or being polite or whatever, it goes a long way. Because so many of you try to reach out to me and then your message is just, hello, my name is Trudy. I'm doing cement business, blah, blah, blah. These are my problems. What is the top 5 way to grow my business? Like, relax. Some of you guys are just too abrupt. But then you see this lady, Joy, you see her approach. She started with flattery. She said, I'm a master at marketing. Am I not a human being? How would I be flattered and open the message and continue to read? You can see that there's some simple principles that apply here. So, when I say be human, be conversational, a little bit of flattery or talking about the other person never rubbed you off the wrong way. So, just like this guy from my popsi's village, now I want to go and greet. Some flattery too now, before we settle down to business. I'm trying to raise like 28M here so I can be on the radio. If I just go in and say, good morning, Sam, from, your father and my father are from the same village, I need 28 million. How is that going to work? How? Anyway, let me continue. So she says you're a master at marketing. So thank you very much for toasting me, Joy. It's nice to hear that. If I want to go home, I'm going to show my wife this message. I'll say, babe, see this message. Can you see? In this house, you don't rate me, but outside, people rate me. So, what was that? So, yeah, she said I studied something entirely different in school, and yes, she's correct. She's really, really correct. I studied law at Obafemi Awolowo University. So just the same normal law degree that everybody in Nigeria does. Then after that, I went to law school, and then I served in Kano for a bit to stay behind for a while. Yeah, so that's it. Professionally, that's what I studied. Now, later on, I would do my master's degree at the University of Aberdeen in Scotland, and my master's was in oil and gas law. And that's where I met my wife, who has studied, I think she studied sustainable energy or renewable energy or something like that. So she was my senior by 1 year. So I like to tease my wife. I'm actually older than her, but when it comes to school, she's a sharp girl. So she ran through school quickly. So I actually tease my wife. I tell her that she likes younger boys because she married her junior. Because, in law, we have this seniority thing based on when you graduated. So my wife graduated ahead of me. So she's my senior, even though I senior her in age. So yeah, I like to tell her that I like older women. Wink, wink. All right. Where was I? So yes, Noni, you are correct. I actually studied something else. But it's something that you should know, especially people of our generation. Like I like to say I'm a Sesame Street kid. NT Sesame Street. And that's because people who are born late 70s, early 80s, that was our life. You go to school, you come back home, you run around a bit, then 4 o'clock, that's when they open the TV station with national anthem. After that, Sesame Street. Then, you watch that for a while. Then I think like 5 o'clock, they start sports, and then your uncles take over the TV. Now you children, you go outside and play. You go and play football or, climb trees or whatever. So it's one thing you guys have to understand that, nowadays people talk about doing what you love and blah, 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 blah. For us, when we were growing up, that was not the atmosphere in the air. Because, okay, the military was in power. Things didn't seem to be going too well in Nigeria and on the African continent, economically, when it comes to civic rights and things like that. So the future seemed bleak, or at least that's the kind of thing that people used to push out, that the future was bleak. So for people who could jackpot early, they would. Like there's some of my classmates who, after primary school, yeah, they cut out, they left. There's some people who left in like junior secondary school, but people jackpot. So this jackpot thing is not a new thing. Since I've been born, people have been jackpotting, so it's not new. So for us, for me and my wife's generation, uh, trying to decide on what to study was a much more pragmatic thing. It was not a matter of what's your passion, what do you love, blah blah blah. Because I was a quiet kid, but I also was a very talented kid. So I had some physical talents. My coach invited me to try out for the football team, but then somebody broke my nose. Well, not really broke my nose, sha, but there was plenty of blood, and I said, no, I'm not like no. I love football, but it's not this much. But I had some physical skill. Then I could draw a bit, and I could rap a bit, and there were lots of things that I could do. But at the end of the day, I had to tell myself that look, looking around at the environment at the time, I was like, okay, so you can rap and people respect you because you have flows, but like onto what? I'll become a musician in Nigeria. Okay, I can draw and people respect my skills, but I was like, okay, so what? I'm going to become an artist in Nigeria, and then obviously I was not in any football academy or something, so athletics was out of the question. So I started thinking very pragmatically about what I was going to do when I grow up. And since I like philosophy and stuff like that, I thought I would study uh, politics, philosophy, and economics. That was number one. Or number two, I was going to study canon law. But later on, I would learn from my father that canon law is mostly a Catholic thing. So if I study canon law, my employment opportunities would be limited. Then I'll learn from my mom later on that if I studied politics, philosophy, and economics, that's really what I wanted to study. Mom C told me that I would die a poor lecturer. That's what she said. Because back then, lecturers used to be poor. I mean, right now, lecturers are balling, they're flossing, especially with private schools around now. But back then, lecturers were poor. And Mom C said that I would die a poor lecturer. So, to be honest, my studying law was just, how for do. You look around, what else will I do? So that's how I ended up studying law. So there was no passion, there was no love, there was no what's my greatest purpose, what did they put me on this earth to do, something, something, something. So for people in our generation, me, my wife, my classmates, was a very practical something. So those of us who ended up in law or accounting or medicine or engineering or geology or whatever, it was very, fact based, practical based, as per this is where Nigeria is heading. Where can we locate ourselves? So that's the sort of thing. So yes, Joy Noni, you're absolutely correct. I did not study marketing in school. My brother, however, studied business administration. So yes, he did have some marketing courses. So let's see. Yeah, I studied something entirely different in school. And she said she's in a similar situation. So I told her to send me a WhatsApp message so that we can keep on chatting because I hardly check my LinkedIn inbox. So she wanted to know how I found my way to marketing and how I discovered that I liked it and how I got started. So let's see. Okay, so this was my response to her. So first of all, I told her I responded. I said my story, wahala. The reason why I say wahala is because I don't like. Sorry, excuse me. I don't like talking about my story. Well, first of all, because I don't think there's a story to tell. And also, I think in business circles, we have over glamorized this whole rags to riches, something, something, something. So everybody wants to come up with an angle. Like, oh, I was abandoned as a child. Or, oh, my parents got divorced. Or, oh, I was abused as a child. Or, oh, from rags to riches. Or, oh, I came to Lagos with 500 naira in my pocket. Today I'm a millionaire. And blah, 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 blah. And quite frankly, I think that's overdone. Now, there are some people who have had significant difficulties. And in fact, we even make it harder for people who have significant difficulties to tell their story. So I'm not going to join that bandwagon. So there is no sub story. There is none. My childhood was happy and fine. Nobody sexually abused me. Well, at least not that I know of. Um, I didn't grow up in abject poverty. I didn't have only one pair of slippers. I didn't come to Lagos with only 500 naira in my pocket. Like, there's no sub story. So apart from the things that come out normally, when I'm on stage or like now, when people are talking to me one on one, there is no story to be told, actually. None. So that's what I told her. That's why I say my story, wahala, because I have no story to tell. I'm just like you. You're Nigerian, right? I'm Nigerian. I'm just like you. You had loving parents, right? I too, I had loving parents. I'm just like you. Did my parents struggle? Oh, yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. They did. Just like your parents did. I'm just like you. You schooled in Nigeria? Oh yeah, I schooled in Nigeria too. I'm just like you. If you're those part of those Nigerians who schooled abroad, eventually I schooled abroad. I'm just like you. You're able to get a bit of an education? Yeah, sure. I got a bit of an education. I'm just like you. You're not thoroughly educated. I understand perfectly well. My father stopped at national diploma, so in a sense, kind of, I'm just like you. I also have cousins who decided they're not going to go to school anymore, and we're still in the middle of some of those things because it has implications. So, on whatever yardstick or whatever criteria or whatever, I'm just like you. I am you. That's the reason why I make the podcast, and that's the reason why I'm flowing direct with you because I'm like you. I'm your brother. We can relate. So there's no need for me to have a story, and you won't hear any story. What is important is what I know about sales and marketing, and I'll do my best to continue talking about that. Once in a while, some personal nuggets will drop. When they drop, no problem. But apart from that, I have no story, and I'm not going on stage for some rags to riches something. Now, God willing, if I achieve my aim and I become a certified big boy, as in like me and Tony Olumelu and Dangote, like all of us on a first name basis, you know, maybe when Dangote is, in a bind, like he needs to be in Switzerland quick, like he can call me up and I say, oh, Dangote, it's not a problem. You can have my private jet. It's all right. It's cool, you know. Or maybe Tony Olumelu wants to host his birthday bash, but maybe Tony's house is too small. And then Tony Olumelu wants to use my own house. I'll say, oh, yeah, Tony, no problem. Now we boys, we cool. You can use my house on the island. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. Just go ahead. Just use it. So if my plan works out and I come a certified big boy, I'm still not going to do that whole, this is my story thing. There is no story. What I know about sales and marketing, that's the most important thing. So my answer to her was, there's no personal story. I didn't find sales and marketing. Sales and marketing found me. And this is how it found me. For those of you who listen to the podcast, you already know. My brother and I, we started trying to do a couple of businesses and we realized that we were struggling. The reason why we were struggling, quite simply, was because we could not sell or market ourselves. It is that simple. That is how sales and marketing found me. That's all. That is what began the journey. I was doing a couple of things correct, and my brother kept trying to give me material to say, read this thing. But I looked at it and I said, this is Brian Tracy. Now, what does a white boy have to teach me about selling and marketing Nigeria? I will not read this thing. And I continued doing my thing. After 3 years, I listened to the psychology of selling and I realized that, oh, okay, my brother is actually correct. There are a couple of things that I can learn from this guy, even though he's a white dude and the guy is old. The guy is old as in he's old. Even back then, I thought he was old, not to talk about now, because Uncle Brian is still alive, at least in 2026. So, that was when I now realized that, come on, this thing that you say sales and marketing, even though there's an Oyibo person who is talking about these things, these principles actually apply in Nigeria. So, the challenge now, the focus now is these things that they are saying, that they are doing in America, in Canada, in the UK, how we go apply these things in the Nigerian context. That's all. So that is what I started doing. I read Brian Tracy. The guy says this. Okay, good. What's the corollary? How do we apply it to Nigeria? I hear Grant Cardone say something. No problem. What's the levels? How do you apply it to Nigeria? I read a book about sales and marketing. This is what they're saying in London, in New York. No problem. How are we going to apply that thing in Nigeria. That's how the thing started. I didn't find sales and marketing. Sales and marketing found me. Two boys were trying to be in business, were trying to set up their family right. And we realized that sales and marketing is the way. And that's why I keep saying that you people should stop deceiving yourselves. I started off after legal. I started off as a wedding photographer. Too many of you wedding photographers, you people are in love with cameras. Stop buying the most expensive camera on the market. It's not the camera that is keeping your career. Excuse me. Go and learn sales and marketing. Some of you think that, because your father quarreled with your uncle before he died and something, and this side of the family doesn't like you, it's not spiritual forces that are holding you back. Go and learn sales and marketing. Even if it's spiritual forces that are holding you back, but you learn sales and marketing, you learn the proper thing to do, and then unite yourself with God, who can hold you back? Who? It's not your family that is keeping you back. Then there's some people who think, oh, they don't have the right connects, they don't have the right education, blah, blah, blah. No problem. Learn the little that you can about sales and marketing, and then who can hold you back? I'm in Abuja every day when I'm going to go and drop my wife. I drive by this guy, past this guy's building. What's his name? Cosmas Maduka. Is it Maduka or Maducha? Sorry, forgive me. Koscharis. Koscha. He didn't come from the right background. But in sales and marketing, you can make something of yourself. So, excuse me, how's more kata? Go and learn sales. Go and learn marketing. So that's what started the journey of the podcast. Because lots of Nigerians don't know that it is that simple. Go and learn sales, go and learn marketing. If they're in photography, they'll start looking for a better camera. If they're in baking, they'll start looking for a better oven. If they're in retail, okay, well, location is good in retail, yes. If they're in retail, they'll start looking for the expensive storefront. Or whatever it is. All those things are good. Buy the camera if you can. Rent the biggest shop in the best space in Abuja or in Lagos or Onitsha if you can afford it. But go and learn sales and marketing. This is where a lot of us are struggling. That's what began the journey. Lots of Nigerians don't know that it is this simple. Okay, well, let me not say it's this simple. I'm not trying to give the impression that you're not going to do any work. You have to do work. But this is the beginning. And that is how I started promoting this gospel on the podcast. And it is a gospel, it's good news. Please, Christians, no vex. I'm not trying to say that Jesus and money are the same. Yeah? I'm being metaphorical here. That's how I started promoting this gospel. And I also told Joy that I'm really, really thankful. Very, 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 very thankful. Because since I've been promoting this gospel, it's not been easy. The reason why this podcast is catching on, small, is because of people like you, Joy. People like you who reach out and who encourage me, who say, oh boy, we cite you, keep up the good work. That's why I continue. It's because of those of you who listen and those of you who say, this is a correct guy. And then we actually collaborate on one or two things, and then I make some coins. It's because of people like you. Then there are also people like you who never reach out to me, but who share it in different forums. That's how one day I was minding my business. One of my friends sent me a screenshot. I said, hey, where did you see this? He said, some random guy just shared this in my podcast. He said that this guy is the way and the truth, that all of them are listening to this podcast. The guy never reached out to me. He just discovered the podcast and he said that, this thing is solid. He now shared it and was ranting about my podcast that people should follow. Somebody who is in that group who knows me now screenshot and sent it to me. So it's because of people like you that this podcast is really catching on. And because of that, I say thank you very much for the encouragement. That's the reason why I answer all of you. Even if it takes me 48 hours, even if it takes me 1 week, I'll respond to all the messages. And that's the reason why I give her my contact details. And I told Joy Noni, send me a message on WhatsApp, 080-6466-2140. Well, let's continue to relate. Because, I want to know some more about her situation. And that's just why I say send a WhatsApp message. If I'm busy, no problem. But eventually, I'll be free. I'll be able to respond and we're able to continue the chat. So, for those of you who've been along with me for the journey, there's one guy that reached out that has been listening for 3 years. Thanks. I really love you guys. Those of you who are discovering me new, or you find value in this thing, I mean, thanks. I still love you guys all the same. You people are responsible for the growth of this podcast because believe I have tried to promote it on other avenues. There are some people who have podcast syndication networks. They come together and promote themselves. I've tried. I reach out to a couple of people and I say, "What's up? How can I get in?" You know, but then it doesn't work out. In fact, there's one lady I reached out to. She has, I think, a newsletter that makes podcast recommendations and all whatnot. You know what? I tried. I said, "What's up? I see what you do. It's real nice. This is what I do. And so, what's the criteria? I'd like to apply. Even if he's paying himself, I'll pay." So I've been trying. I've been doing other avenues, but I've noticed that different podcast promotion networks, different podcast curating lists and things like that. Somehow I don't get on it. Or actually, to be honest, maybe I've not been chasing them hard enough. But what I'm just trying to say is that the reason why the podcast is growing is because of everyday ordinary Nigerians like Joy and you listening to the podcast. So I really value your support. I really do. So thank you very much for everyone who reaches out, everyone who loves the show, everyone who shares the show. So just in case you are like Joy and you are wondering, who is this guy? What's the background? Yeah, that's the reason why I'm making today's podcast episode. But ordinarily, I've done over 1,300 episodes. I think it's only two where there's been a dedicated episode where I'm talking about myself. Ordinarily, I don't do this because who I am or how I got here is not important. What I know is the most important thing. So that's why I come up here and keep on sharing all these podcast episodes every other day. So thanks again, Joy Noni, for reaching out. Remember, she's a brand strategist. Reach out to her on LinkedIn. Show her some love. Follow her. Who knows? Maybe she might be able to help you with your brand. But thanks to everyone who discovers the podcast and who supports me and who reaches out. Today's episode is dedicated to all of you. So if you want to be like Joy and you want to reach out to me, yeah, you can reach out on LinkedIn. But I respond quicker on WhatsApp, and the phone number is 080-6466-2140. So if you have a question, you have a comment, you have a query, you want us to collaborate on something, you want me to train your team, you want me to consult with you on something, reach out. Let's have a chat. Even if all you want to do is you want to say, good morning, sir. I appreciate your work. Even if that is all you want to do, even that is much loved, much appreciated. Because somebody hailed me this morning, and that was all he came to say. His name is George. I won't use his surname because I didn't ask permission or anything. But that's all George is. George just reached out and said, "Hey, what's up? Been listening to the podcast. You delivering value. Like, I love what you do. Keep up the good work." Anyway, let me not turn this into a love fest. But thank you to all of you who reach out. I'll do my best to keep the show going, and I'll do my best to keep on dropping those nuggets. So that's it, and that's all for today. Remember to subscribe, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, any player of your choice, and also recommend the podcast. Oh, sorry for that whistling noise. That was one guy just reversing, and he didn't even fix his car. Go and fix your car. Go and oil those wheels. So, where was I? I lost my train of thought. Anyway, thank you all very much for reaching out. So subscribe and then let your friends and family members know and let your enemies know as well. And this is the reason why. It's called network effects. If you're hanging out with a group of, let's say, like 8 boys, and then all 8 of you are broke, the chances of all of you remaining broke, is high. But if you're hanging out with 8 boys, and then 4 of you hammer and become millionaires, the fact that 4 of you don't hammer, the chances of the rest of you elevating, is now high. So that's the reason why you should actually let your enemies know when you discover good stuff. Because if your enemy succeeds, you will also succeed. It's called network effects. The pool, the environment, everywhere is upgrading. And then you're in the environment, you go to upgrade. So let your enemies know about this as well. If your enemies get rich, you get rich as well. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening. I'll catch you all some other time.